6 p.m. in Mamfin, Manu Division, Southwest region of Cameroon. Same time right in Akwa Douala. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Our top stories tonight. Legal experts have slammed Elections Cameroon's justification for rejecting Professor Maurice Kamto's candidacy, calling it legally baseless. According to Professor Moise Timchueng, a law professor speaking to the program La Verite and Face, Elekam's claim about multiple candidatures lacks legal foundation and is unfair, unjust and discriminatory. Away from that, but still on the same topic, retained presidential candidates including Issa Chiruma Bakari and Kaksin Ateki Seta have denounced the exclusion of Professor Maurice Kamto from the final list, calling it pre-electoral fraud. They demand the Constitutional Council to remain impartial and urge Professor Maurice Kamto's reinstatement for a credible election. Those are top stories tonight. The news in full in a jiffy. Thank you so much for staying with us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. Retained presidential candidates Issa Chiruma Bakari of the CNSF party and Kaksin Ateki Seta of PAL party have taken a bold stance, denouncing what they see as pre-electoral fraud by Elections Cameroon, citing exclusion of Professor Maurice Kamto from the final list. They have called on the Constitutional Council to remain impartial in its deliberation. Joining the chorus are Professor Nkuvondo of the Univer Party and another political actor known as Valer Basala, who argued that elections credibility hinges on the participation of the main opposition leader, which is Professor Maurice Kamto. They demand that the professor immediate reinstatement to the list of retained candidates. Innocent Aze reports.
Days after publication of the list of candidates retained for the October 12, 2025 presidential election by Elekam, with the absence of Professor Maurice Kamto, reactions keep multiplying in the political class. The president and retained candidates of the Cameroon National Salvation Front (CNSF) party, Issa Chiruma Bakari, in a communique expressed his surprise following the rejection of Kamto's candidature. He demands the Constitutional Council to show proof of impartiality when treating appeals and ensure the reintegration of Professor Maurice Kamto on the final list of candidates. Chiroma furthers that it is solely the will of the people that can exclude a candidate. Invited as guest on a TV debate platform, political actor Valer Basala as well reacted on the Kamto's exclusion from the presidential race, stating that a presidential election without him will not at all be credible.
Cette élection 2025 sans Maurice Kamto ne sera pas crédible.
When Kamto was already being rejected for not participating in the 2020 legislative and municipal elections, he decided to resign from the CRM party and land in a credible train Manidem party, recognized by the administration for the 2025 presidential election. Again, Anissa Dekane is the legitimate president of Manidem. There are also other persons who made similar migration to have a party present them as candidates. Among the voices demanding the immediate reintegration of the truth after the rejection of Kamto's candidacy are those of Professor Nkuvondo of the Univer Party and Kaksin Ateki Seta of PAL. I am convinced that in the documents presented by Professor Maurice Kamto to Elekam, there are facts giving him every reason. But since it is an examination, there is an appeal. It is through the appeal that the truth will be established if the Constitutional Council is impartial. Every focus is towards the Constitutional Council, the sole body capable to decide on which rejected candidacy by Elekam can be revived or definitely buried. Commentators say it is through the decision of the Constitutional Council that Cameroonians will know if they are truly in a democratic nation or not.
And the same vein, the Constitutional Council is a final bus stop in matters of pre- and post-electoral litigations in Cameroon, that is according to the Electoral Code. Expected on August 12, 2025 for pre-electoral litigations linked to the upcoming presidential elections, the Council will have to decide on the fate of the candidates whose candidatures were rejected by the Electoral Council on July 26th. The rejection or validation of an appeal at the Constitutional Council will depend on several factors in which, for me, Armstrong Sanda will outline in this report.
The Cameroonian Electoral Code outlines specific procedures for candidates whose nomination files were rejected by Elecam's Electoral Council. Douala-based legal expert Barrister Leju says rejected candidates have 3 days from the publication of the provisional list to file an appeal with the Constitutional Council.
And the Constitutional Council have, according to the law, a maximum of 10 days to decide if Electoral Council is right or not. If you are right on your appeal, you join that list of those candidates who should go to these elections. Secondly, if the Constitutional Council thinks that you are not right, it's finished. You cannot make another appeal.
He further says an appeal at the Constitutional Council can be rejected for several reasons, including procedural deficiencies, jurisdictional issues, substantive grounds, challenge to Council's authority, and constitutional amendments.
First of all, you should understand that the Constitutional Council cannot go through your case if you have not presented your request as the law previews.
Most importantly, Barrister Leju urged Constitutional Council magistrates to demonstrate professionalism and impartiality.
And we hope also that Constitutional Council members should be able to say the law, to apply only the law.
The Constitutional Council examines appeals and must issue a final decision within 10 days of receiving the appeal. Historically, the Constitutional Council in Cameroon has rarely overturned Elecam's decisions, leading to criticisms about its independence.
And away from politics, residents of Makepe, it is a neighborhood in the Douala 5 subdivision, are up in arms over the deplorable state of a key road which has been left to deteriorate with time. The stretch has become a hotspot for accidents, and vehicle owners are fed up with the damage it causes to their own cars. Our reporter Mala Glory visited the area and now gives us first-hand information about its current state. Her report.
In Cameroon, the prevalence of hepatitis remains high. The disease caused by inflammation of the liver has 5 main types: hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E. Medics say the leading type is hepatitis B, which affects 11.2% of the population, with certain groups being at higher risk.
For instance, we have mother to child during delivery, having sexual intercourse with people that you don't know their status. You equally have drug abusers. We equally have people who practice other forms of sexual activities. It could be anal or it could be oral route.
The symptoms of hepatitis B include yellowing of the skin and eyes, dark urine, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, and pain in the abdomen. When hepatitis B infection becomes chronic, lasting longer than 6 months, it can lead to serious liver damage, including liver cancer and liver failure.
Once in this chronic phase, there is always a need for you to consult with a specialist, a hepatologist, who they are going to screen you to better understand at what state of the infection you have. And once you're deemed eligible for medications or treatment, you have antiviral agents which actually help to be able to reduce the viral load. For instance, we have drugs like tenofovir.
To curb the high rates of hepatitis in Cameroon, the country joins the world each year on July 28 through awareness campaigns to educate the public. Dr. Milton Elvis is the medical director at the Peace and Comfort Medical Center in Bunaberi, Douala 4 subdivision. He emphasizes the importance of this initiative.
We have to go for routine screening at least once a year. But if the means permit, then every 6 months you can go for your general body checkup, and hepatitis B should be an integral part of that screening. Our idea is if you're screened and you're negative, we'll be able to advise you to start with your hepatitis B vaccines.
Routine monitoring and treatment for chronic hepatitis B infection can greatly help in managing and curbing the impact of hepatitis B.
That was Rada Isilusilengo reporting on the causes and better ways of preventing hepatitis B, not just in Cameroon, also across the world. And away from that, to tell you this report done by Malaglory, where residents of Makepe neighborhood in the Douala 5 subdivision are currently up in arms over the deplorable state of a key road, which has been left to deteriorate with time. The stretch has become a hotspot for accidents, and vehicle owners are fed up with the damage it causes to their cars. Our reporter Malaglory visited the area and now gives us first-hand information about its current state. Her report.
One road, several potholes, vehicles are stuck in very large ones. We are in the Makepe neighborhood, precisely at Carrefour Happy Spur in the Douala 5 subdivision. Drivers are stranded and confused whether to continue or reverse. For this young lady, she has given up trying, so seeked help from us to take a U-turn than to risk on the dangerous stretch. The potholes and ditches on the road makes driving through a daunting task for motorists. Drivers carefully navigate the area in order to avoid accidents.
C'est très grave.
It's really bad, especially this particular spot. Maintenance are done here every month, but yet we keep suffering. Let them do a better. Marcus, a Cameroonian Canadian who lives around the neighborhood, expressed his frustration. The rising traffic congestion is a feature on this stretch due to the worsening condition of the road. Users say accidents are common on the stretch, while vehicle owners complain of frequent car repairs.
Accidents are here every day. You are physical more than once, but you cannot be doing it every day because here we see all the same project.
If they must wait for election to fix only part of the road, then it's discouraging. The situation is worst when you need to take your car for repair every week or daily, yet have all the required papers.
Tous les jours les pièces qu'on nous demande.
It is a similar situation at the Trades Pakovita neighborhood, where vehicle owners have a hectic time driving through. Commuters say the situation is worst on these roads when it rains. They, however, appeal to the authorities concerned to fix the roads in order to limit road accidents.
And that's it for this first part of the news. Cameroon Today comes up next. Baturi and surrounding villages in the East region are sitting on a gold mine, literally. However, instead of reaping the benefits of this wealth, these areas remain underdeveloped. The search for gold has led many school children to abandon their studies and farming activities to try their luck in gold digging. Tragically, these artisanal miners often lose their lives due to hazardous working conditions. Smarty Kangebe reports on this pressing issue.
According to the non-governmental organization Forest and Rural Development, between 2010 and 2024, the clandestine exploitation of gold in the Kadai Division, East region of Cameroon has recorded a very high increase. The total surface area of the mining site has moved from 82.48 hectares in 2010 to 439.7 hectares in 2024, giving an increase of 5,490% in just 14 years. The findings show a brutal reality as villages have been turned into mining sites. Baturi, Kete, and Kenzo, their lands have been disfigured. Baturi, that was once a place to be, has now been transformed into craters. Most of the young people in the village have fled away to mining sites in search of gold. It is not strange, as on several occasions the workers have died as a result of a soil which collapsed on them, but that has never stopped their enthusiasm to continue the search for gold. I'm coming from Kete subdivision, Kadei division. I'm here to fight for my life because I heard there is gold. Mbongeni, just like Kete and other localities in the region, the reality on the ground is harsh. The company employs many people since it wasn't still legalized. We employ almost every day. The moment that the machine starts work, we can recruit 150 people, and sometimes per day we have 1,500 persons, but we don't employ 1,000 at the same time. Though having very rich ground, this section of Cameroon is amongst the areas in the east region that is sitting on gold, but found in total misery as the exploiters dig. The forest is sent away, water dirtied, and farmlands deserted. The school-going kids prefer abandoning education for the gold mines as they expect to get rich quick, but in front of them, difficult and inhumane working conditions, instability, injuries, and sometimes untimely death. The death you just saw, now we did it within a period of 1 month, and it was continuous digging. It is dangerous when you get into the hole of someone else. For example, as we are in this site, if they come and steal in the night, they will only dig where they have seen sand and the ground on top. The search for gold has been transformed into a death trap as the fragile soil could easily collapse. This is the process of grinding the soil. It's through this system that we find the mineral we are looking for, and this is how we feed our families. Unfortunately, we came to see that some people are against us. The problem is some state personnel came and informed us that we are not legal, and we know that we have documents that have given us the authorization.
Les permis de recherche.
Permits are given to carry out research. The number of permits delivered are not equal to those who are carrying out the exploitation. Till date, we have just one permit that we have delivered, which is already ongoing 1 year now. We are thinking that from there, the social impact on the people living around who are directly affected by the activities will be ameliorated. The activity is well defined by the 2023 law of the Mining Code and supported by the implementation decree of November 18, 2024.
Et également complété par le décret d'application du 18 novembre 2024.
Though the mining exercise is usually done.
And that's how we saw it on tonight's edition of Cameroon Today. Talking Point comes up next. On tonight's edition of Talking Point, I'll be receiving a legal mind. He's known as Barrister Christopher NDONG. Good evening, Barrister. It's a pleasure to have you on Talking Point tonight.
Good evening, televiewers. Good evening, Madam Immaculate Fogwe. Happy to talk to you this evening.
Barrister, what specifically does ELECA mean by multiple candidatures and its reason to reject the candidacy of Professor Maurice Kamto, and how does this relate to Cameroon's electoral laws?
Now, the reason that was advanced to reject his candidature was put on the fact that they said there were several candidates, which they said pluralité de candidats. Okay, we are saying there is no law in this country, not even in the electoral code, even in the penal code, where it says that plurality of persons filing candidatures is a reason for rejecting his candidature. No, that one is the handiwork of ELECAM who from beginning till today have been doing everything possible to reject the candidature of Professor Maurice Kamto. Professor Maurice Kamto's candidature is clean and clear, clean like water. So any other decision taken by LECAM, in fact, is null and void and cannot be taken seriously. Because as I rightly said, there is no law that talks of plurality de candidature. So there is no law for plurality of candidates, no.
Now, Barrister, how can the acceptance of one candidacy from the same party, for example, the CPDM, which we saw Presidents Paul Biya and Leon Tilonana, be reconciled with a rejection of Kamto's candidacy on the basis of multiple candidatures? Does it make sense?
It is a biased attitude of LECAM and the government that have caused all of this. There were 3 political parties that had double candidates. Paul Biya, CPDM had double candidates. Paul Biya himself and Taylor Leon. You had Univer had 2. And then you have Manidem. Manidem had 2. And UPC had 3. So you see, all those people, only Kamto has been pushed out of the game with 2. So the big question Cameroonians are asking, why are the others not rejected? So you see that they have a special hatred and they don't want Kamto to compete in this presidential election. But we said no, they should respect the law. It is only the law we want them to respect. We have nothing else against them.
Professor Maurice Kamto is expected to file an appeal at the Constitutional Council to contest LECAM's decision before midnight today. Can the Constitutional Council's impartiality be guaranteed, given that its members are appointed by the head of state?
Yes, you know, we of the CRM and the candidate for Manidem are political parties that are in fact very sure of the Constitutional Council for what they shall do, because it is now the ball in their court. You know, the decision of a LECAM can take any decision. They are not a constituted body as far as justice is concerned. They only have to receive, examine at their level and send to the Constitutional Council. The Constitutional Council will not look at the law governing candidatures and from there to see whether Kamto filed the necessary document. If yes, then the Constitutional Council, without fear or favor, should grant Kamto to run for the presidential election, and that is what we are looking up for. We have all given our document evidences to support this argument. So we are very, very sure and convinced the Constitutional Council, if it goes looking at the document and work according to the law and the powers that are conferred onto them, they are at the last step to find to pass the decision for Professor Maurice Kamto's candidature to be put to the race, and that is what we are looking up to. You know, we cannot say we are doubting them, except for past records. We have been filing, they have been rejecting. The Constitutional Council has become a place of irreservability, that is, rejecting all application before it. But this time around, we say let them use the law. The law is on our side. They know we are right, and they should pass justice to tell LECAM that they should not do things against the law.
Now, going back to you, given the Constitutional Council's past stance on similar matters, they have claimed lack of competence. What makes you think they rule differently on Kamto's current appeal?
It's the last turn for the Constitutional Council to have its credibility. We have not been bothered by their decision, because we know those are things we were putting in front of the world and Cameroonians to know how partial the Constitutional Council is. If they turn around with the one before them, before the end of this month, to say Maurice Kamto is illegible, then they should be able to explain to Cameroonians and the world how illegible is Professor Maurice Kamto. So the answer is wavering in the air. And only the Constitutional Council will give credit to themselves if they grant that Maurice Kamto has no problem with his candidature. That would be good. And then they will now restore their reputation. But if they want to destroy their reputation forever, to make Cameroonians not to have faith in them, hope in them, as far as justice is concerned, they should go ahead, follow what LECAM has said, and then Cameroonians will decide what to do, because that is the last hope of Cameroonians. Professor Maurice Kamto is the last hope of Cameroonians.
Given the widespread desire for a strong opposition coalition in Cameroon, what evidence suggests that some opposition candidates will be pleased with the rejection of Professor Maurice Kamto's candidacy rather than seeing it as a setback for opposition's unified front?
It's my opinion. I think that they are very happy that Kamto should not be in the race, because none of them have come out to decry this injustice meted on the political party Manidem, the injustice meted out to the person, Professor Maurice Kamto, the injustice meted out to the Cameroon Renaissance movement. None of them. I think the only person who has attempted to say something in that light is Cheroma. But Cheroma, he has said what he has said. We are looking up for the constitution. That tells you how happy those people are, because they know if they go, the position that has been granted to participate in the election, if they go, they cannot beat the CPDM. They cannot beat Paul Biya. We are just an accomplices to the system. They are bedfellows to the system. So when we talk like this, they start looking at us at the quarters with Chandam. But we are saying the truth. The truth must be spoken. They are not really, they are not real and serious oppositions. They are oppositions to follow the CPDM for crumbs and posts in the ministry. That is all. There is nothing more. Kamto is the veritable leader that has come, wants to change the system, bring happiness to the people, develop this country, and in fact, solve the problems of Cameroon. And Cameroon have seen in him in his program. He has a perfect program that no other political party has put up. So you should know that there's difference between him, the people, and the other opposition political leaders. It is read every day in out. No gendarme, no police always disturb them, worry them. You know, police and gendarmes were all out because they knew they would throw away the candidate of Kamto. So you see, all of this is a gang up, it's a hook up, a drum up charge to say that his candidature is disqualified because they went and took Hebda, who was somewhere in the village there, enjoying his palm wine and life, to come and disturb the candidature of Kamto. But anyhow, I say the law, there is no law that says plurality of candidates is a crime. No. So Kamto's candidatures can be given the next chance by the Constitutional Council to run for the presidential elections.
And now, don't you think it's premature to start saying that none of these candidates can beat the 43-year regime that is in place? And also, you're making some serious allegations saying that they are working with the regime. What proof do you have about that?
Madam, I want to tell you that, and tell the national and international opinion that Cabral cannot win election to be president in this country, this election that is coming up. He cannot beat Paul Biya. Joshua cannot beat Paul Biya in this election coming up. Bello, Cheruma, all of them cannot beat Paul Biya. The only person whom the population is behind to make sure they turn away this government is Professor Maurice Kamto. Now, I want to ask you, I put you equally this question. Why will we be talking of the youths to come to the helm of power when 3/4 of the political party leadership are youths? Cabral is a youth. Why is he not joining with Joshua? Joshua is a youth. Why is he not joining with Cabral? Ecosse is a youth. Why is he not joining with Cabral Joshua? Mwatoba is a youth. Why? There is this problem. Because I want to say that they cannot come together. And that is why Professor Maurice Kamto, with his APC bloc, decided to say, let all the other people join them, join hands, so that we'll take away the system. We have a common denominator, that of changing the system. But you cannot change the system by attaching yourself to the system and pretend to say you are the opposition.
Thank you so much, Barrister, for accepting my invitation on Talking Point tonight.
Thank you, Madam Immaculate. Thank you, fellow Cameroonians, televiewers of Equinoxe TV. Be hopeful. Professor Maurice Kamto's file will be examined by the Constitutional Court of this land. That court is the highest organ that can bring change institutionally, by the law, and through equity and justice. We are looking up to them. If they say it otherwise, then Cameroonians will judge for themselves, and Cameroonians will be able to tell who is who in the political scene of this country. So, thank you, madam. Thank you once more. I'm always available anytime you need me.
Barrister Don Christopher, Legal Mind, speaking to us live from Yaoundé. Thank you so much for your time. And that's all put a cap to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for always staying with us and staying in the company of interesting programs on the best of TV stations in Cameroon. Bye-bye for now.